Hello, Rags here. It is a new year, and in terms of memes, I'd say we're off to a pretty fantastic start. Recently, some insufferable, preachy SJW artist drew her self-insert comic, as they do, to show everybody just how, incredibly virtuous she is. I suppose that's what she thought, at least, but it seems that the internet at large sees things in a much different and much more reasonable way. I think you already know about the comic I'm talking about, and if you have yet to see it, you should take a look. Our self-insert character, the purple-haired one, if you didn't already guess, is laughing at something on her phone, and the new guy next to her asks what's so funny. She says that millionaire gamer bro douchebag totally got robbed, and she laughs about it. New guy responds asking her how she would like it if she was robbed. I can tell we're gonna be the kind of coworkers who become good friends, she says back to him, and he's excited at the prospect of making a new friend. Hell no, she retorts back to him. And that's the comic. Hilarious. I don't know what it is about the SJWs and their inability to meme, or just their really shitty webcomics either. In any event, this comic itself was drawn back in December 8th, when PewDiePie was robbed. It wasn't until OniNG posted the comic in Twitter that made it a viral hit there. And it took no time at all for the comic to be roundly mocked and derided as the insufferable, morally repugnant social justice webcomic that it was. The self-insert character of the original artist was parodied. Well, maybe not parodied, maybe accurately reflected in other scenarios. Not only that, but it gave birth to one of the most positive and satisfying memes that I've seen in some time. New Guy. New Guy represents empathy, positivity, generally just being a kind and good person. These are traits that often clash with SJW attitudes that are prevalent on places like Twitter in particular. Twitter is a cesspool of negativity and spite, and it's infamous for just how much cruelty and malice are doled out in excessive measure for even the tiniest of perceived slights. It does bring me a lot of satisfaction that people are rallying so readily around this positive symbol, and in addition, there's admittedly a bit of catharsis that comes along from the fact that so many were so quick to denounce somebody who extols their cruelty and lack of empathy as virtuous. And that's why these comics are made. Though even calling them comics seems odd. Comic implies some kind of humor to it. But anyway, that's why these comics were made. So that somebody from one tribe can show visually just how good they are to their own tribe, appealing to their own standards. There is no self-reflection. A New Guy is clearly created by the artist to be some kind of large, bald, brutish mongoloid, some simpleton, and she's the type who will so gleefully celebrate robbery and other terrible acts so long as they're committed against the right targets. PewDiePie, according to her, is a douche, so when somebody robs him, that's something worth celebrating. I am such a good person, eat the rich, lol. Angst and vitriol are common from such people. This comic embodies that. There's not even the aspect of, I think robbery is wrong, and I really don't wish it happened, but I'm somewhat satisfied on a base emotional level that it happened to somebody that I hate. Among these socialist advocates comes with it, I see so often, an even further extension of this. They see their mean and unempathetic nature as a virtue that they show off in art such as this to people who are like-minded. After all, let's take a look at the comic itself. All New Guy does is attempt to reason with her admittedly rather odd joy in another person's misery. That's why his empathy has become such a prime trait associated with New Guy. The idea of considering the simple concept of, well, what if it happened to you, is lost on so many. We are taught, or at least we should be taught at a young age, the concept of putting yourself into the shoes of others. We learn perspective. We come out of the childish and juvenile notion that we are the center of the cosmos, and that there are countless others who think and feel like we do, and just in a way we can only understand in the abstract. And I think it was Plato who said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Though I suppose to a woke, progressive, socialist-loving serpent, having money means you don't have struggles of your own. We are so quick to be cruel now, and the internet makes it so easy. Even I'm guilty of that, and I'm trying to mellow out, which I think I've done fairly well. A lot of people couldn't ever say the things that they type out on the internet to somebody's face. Not even because of a potential fear of reprisal or the emotional struggle that might come with that directly, but because in person it's much easier to empathize with somebody and to see, maybe in some mirrored way, that you're about to say these things to a human being. And maybe that makes them think that they're a human being as well. And then maybe that means we're similar in some ways. But Twitter's a shithole. Get off it. Leave it behind. It's poison. It's electric cancer that infects the way you think and the way you interact with others. And I'm not saying there aren't benefits of it, though the ones that come to my head are mostly utility related. I know my mental health got much better when I got kicked off Twitter. In a real way, I'm glad that I was. Some people can't handle it, and I don't blame them. There's something unnatural about Twitter. I just feel like it brings out the worst in people and encourages the worst of us to come out. For many, I hope that a lesson was learned here. Even though the artist of this terrible comic has shown no desire to learn or grow or reflect in any way, shocker there, I know, I've often said that everybody can profit from a bad example. Maybe the way to live your life isn't one that constantly seeks out approval from others by being callous and cruel. Maybe if that's the only way you can show the rest of your tribe your incredible virtue, it's time to seriously reconsider why you're trying to impress those people in the first place. It's amazing how quickly and how thoughtlessly we are to demonize other people based on really nothing, just to get the thumbs up from people who would throw us to the wolves in a heartbeat if we got one syllable out of line. The purple-haired snake sees the concept of a stranger being empathetic to another stranger to not only make him annoying, but instantly go so far as to put him at odds with her in a way that excludes friendliness or even the potential of friendship. Just that alone. But I can't act surprised. I remember when PewDiePie got robbed, and there were posts on Twitter from these people who were unapologetically, and with total earnest, saying loud and proud that it is literally immoral to be rich. In fact, it was even more strongly worded by others. Some saying that being rich wasn't only bad, but if you were rich, that was what made you bad. Having amounts of money that were arbitrarily deemed too much settled you neatly into the category of bad person. And all this by those who so happily and openly proclaim in their self-insert comics that they are the good, noble ones. They are unable to see how incredibly insufferable and unreasonable they seem to anyone from the outside who looks in. These are the bubbles in which they live. The outsiders are painted so constantly in a negative light, and they lack understanding to such a degree that their concepts of empathy and nuance and moral systems are sometimes skewed into pathways that many see as simply evil in and of itself. They don't know how to reach across and talk or have discussions or just think about why others have the thoughts that they do. There's a reason people think the way that they do. There is a meme going around from last year. I don't know what it's called, but I think some of you will probably recognize it. And then one day, for no reason at all, people voted Hitler into power. I really like this meme. I think it makes a good point, right? It's some internet post that's placed over all kinds of stuff, lots of funny variations. The idea, at least the point of it, is that people can swing too far in a direction, and then there's a reason when the opposition maybe swings too far in retaliation. Trump is one example. He didn't just happen. There's a reason why 8 years of Obama was followed right up with what will probably be 8 years of Trump. There's a reason he pretty soundly beat Hillary Clinton. There's a reason he's doing so well. The analogy isn't perfect, of course, but it probably illustrates the point well enough. This comic reminded me of this meme, probably because there's this attempt by SJWs and far leftists to associate themselves with debauchery and open degeneracy around children and advocacy to basically be a dick to other people. Like our precious purple-haired cretin, this open willingness to be terrible is baffling to me, and I haven't quite figured it out. I only have my theories. There's a buddy of mine, though, Short Fat Otaku. He made a really great video concerning this comic and his thoughts, and I would really recommend you go take a look at it. In any event, I really enjoyed this new guy meme, and all the ones that have been put out there, and I look forward to what hopefully will be more as time goes on. I really kind of hope this meme sticks around. I like it. It's positive, you know, and I think we need more of that kind of thing. I like the idea that people really are, for the most part, decent when it's so blatantly presented like this. And I hope that maybe, if you see this comic and you think that maybe this purple-haired antagonist strikes a little too close to home for you, then maybe you reconsider what things you find are decent. And maybe for a lot of people, I hope that this served as a reminder of it's not all that bad to be positive and nice to other people. And maybe we shouldn't let the schadenfreude of the internet dominate the things that we find meaningful or entertaining.